How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. It is one of those Florida Keys days that you dream of. It's in the mid to high 60s. Lots of sunshine around. There's no clouds for the most part. And there's zero wind. So you better believe I'm going on the boat. I've got the Ginu in the water. Gonna get loaded up here. And I did want to answer one question before we start today's episode. And that is, Aaron, how do you decide or determine what it is that you're going to do or what you're going to film for? Quite honestly, the heaviest determining factor is my stomach. Depends on what I'm craving. Second would be the weather, what I'm allowed to do with the weather that we have. And then the third one would be what's in season. A lot of the species we do target have seasons. So that'd be the third one. But today and recently over the past few days, we had a really nice cold front come through. It got down into the high 50s. And I've been craving some like soup or some chowder. So I want to make some seafood chowder. So that's what we're going to do. Last night, you can actually see, maybe you can see, down there's a little trap. I'll show you once we get down to the boat. There's a trap in the water full of blue crab. I ran out last night. It was slick, calm, full moon. And I did some blue crab and grabbed a few of those. So we'll jump to that footage here in a sec before we head out on the boat. And I got to thinking, you know what? Let's make this a healthy, chunky chowder. So I'm going to run out today, got some beautiful weather, and we're going to poke around and see, hopefully, if we can find some lobster and some stone crab. So we're going to add those to the pot. You can see our crab there. I didn't trap them. I walked around last night and dipped them, but we'll jump to that footage. Y'all can check that out, and I will see you at the first dive spot. It's beautiful out. Zero wind, full moon. It's pretty chilly, to be honest with you. For me, anyways. I'm gonna poke around, see if we can find anything. There's the remnants of a blue crab. At least I know there was at least one in here at some point. I missed a crab. I'm starting to give up hope there. Not a bad one. Been walking around probably 30 minutes. That's the first anything I've seen. Definitely big enough. That's a nice one. Well, there you go. There we go. Get in there, buddy. Look at the size of that shrimp. That's a big old shrimp. Might have to, well, if he'll walk in, we'll take him. That's an eater. Not what I was after, but dang. Look at the size of this thing. That's a big old shrimp for down here. Hang on to him just in case. Little sleeping nurse shark. We'll leave him alone. Ooh. Lone Ranger. You just got one claw. Yes, I know I need a headlamp. I have a headlamp. But my camera is on my head, so I can't put both on there. Whoop. It's a good thing that's waterproof. That's not bad. We'll hang on to it just in case. Decent one. Little baby shrimp. Oh. Another decent one. They're in the shallower water today. I was up almost to my thighs. I didn't see much. And I pushed up on top. Seems like I'm seeing more. Oh. They're pretty docile tonight, maybe because the water's so cold. Not a lot of running going on. That is a great one. That guy's so soft, both his claws fell off. Another good one right here. Well, this guy's a little more lively. Got him. Got him. That's a better one. You doggy. Oh. Did that fish just dig a hole into the ground? Well, that was pretty wild. I've never seen that before. The Mahara just dug a hole like a flounder. Look at him, he's digging a hole and laying sideways. That was so cool. I've never seen that. There we go. Oh, is that a female? Yeah, it's a female. See the red tips? She's got red tips on her claws. That's a girl. We're gonna leave her alone. You can legally harvest the females, but I'm gonna leave that one alone so she can make some more. You cannot harvest them if they are egg bearing. That one I didn't check, but I'm seeing enough crab. I'm just gonna leave it be. Oh, there's another crab right there. Oh, another female. That's the third female I've seen. Love to see it, girls. I always scan. Anytime I see one, I scan because for some reason I feel like I see multiple. When I see one, I see multiple. There's one right there too. This one looks decent enough. Ooh. In the net, in the net. That's number 6 right there. I don't need much more than that unless I see a jumbo on the way in, but ooh. Ooh. That one looks pretty decent. That one looks like a good one. Oh, that's probably like the biggest one I've got today. Oh, I just bent my net. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I just broke the net. Well, we're going to end it on that one. That was a big one. Look at the size of that one. That's literally the biggest one of this evening. We're going to call it on that. I am stoked on that one. Well, that was the last of my net. I'm going to go through these. That is a good one. That's a really good one right here. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hold on, hold on. Woo! A feisty little booger. That is a great one. It's so cold I'm blowing smoke. That's when you know it's cold in the Keys. That one, let me see what the rest of these look like before I decide which ones I'm going to keep. I probably won't keep all of them. The limit's like 10 gallons or something crazy. Well, shrimp didn't make it. Actually, I should probably leave that out. That's a good one right there. Woo! That's a good one. We'll keep that guy. So I'm not just looking at the claws here, it's the body that I like. Blue crab have a lot on the body, that's good. Oh, these guys are gonna be fighting each other. That one's probably good. Another decent one. They're all just fighting each other. All right, I'm gonna let that one go. Make more crab, buddy. For the ride home, we're gonna throw them on ice. Just make them chill out a little bit. I just hate when they all try to fight each other, so I'm gonna throw them on ice until we get home. Then I'll put them in a pen. They'll just get a little sleepy in there. You got one shrimp. That is it for this evening. Looking good. Some stats for you. The water temp is 67 degrees. Quite a bit colder than I was hoping for. I'm wearing a 3.5 mil wetsuit. I pretty much wear a wetsuit all winter down here. And I'm gonna stay in the shallows today. I'm by myself. So I'm pretty much just snorkeling. I'm in less than 5 feet of water. Let's see if we can find some critters. Gonna need that. Let's go have a look. Welcome back underwater, everybody. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. We'll talk about a couple of the scenarios this day. Pretty straightforward, just some lobstering and stone crabbing. Something I did want to mention for all of you who have been asking over the past couple of years. A lot of the things I do are reactive based on what you guys want. And something that you guys always ask about is gear. Like, what are my favorite gear items? So I'm working on getting those items added to the website. Mainly flashlights, knives, some booties, and a couple of other things. But the two biggest requested items are flashlight and knives. So we're gonna have those up shortly. I have most of the stuff in. I just got to get it inventoried up on the website and build out the pages for them. But keep an eye out for that. So that first spot I checked, you could see was a really nice ledge. That was a spot I actually had. Wanted to check it. There wasn't a single lobster in it, so I started exploring around that area. That's how you find new spots, as you explore, and I ran across this coral head. I came around the corner, and there's one little lobster hanging out by itself. It may sound weird, but I haven't dove for lobster in a few months. And if you're not doing it regularly, I'm pretty good at judging the size, but if you're not doing it regularly, it gets a little harder to judge the size. I couldn't really tell. For some reason, I thought this one was short. When I got it out, you can see I'm kind of hesitating there, but I was like, well, I'll give it a look. It was actually shallow enough that I was able to do it from the surface there. I got it in my hands, and I was still like, it might be close. I gave it a check on the measuring stick, and it was good to go. So this is something I like to do when I'm exploring, if the conditions allow it, is I'll just pick up the anchor and drift. So I've got the boat hooked to the anchor, pick up the anchor. This anchor's light enough that I can just hang on to it and just let the wind take me. And I'll just start to search, cover ground. That's one of the best ways to find new spots, is just to drift and cover some territory. So I started on that ledge, and now I'm just letting the wind take the boat. I'm going to hang on, and if I see something I like, I drop the anchor down and check out that area. right away I started to see bottom I liked, and it's actually pretty amazing how camouflage these lobster can be sometimes. If you look right where I was just pointing, you don't really see much, and go down there and poke in that hole, you see a nice lobster comes out. A lot of this bottom I was working today was kind of what I would call crunchy bottom, little potholes. And you'll see a lot of the lobster on this day were very camouflaged. If you didn't have a keen eye, there was a lot of them you wouldn't notice. And it was amazing. Like I said, it was so shallow. Once I got them out, for the most part, I was able to get the snare around them from the surface. And once I got that one in my hand, after seeing that first legal one, it all comes back, you know. I got that one in my hand, I realized it was short, so I try to put them back where I find them. This one I actually didn't even have to dive down on. I don't know how many times I've caught a lobster completely from the surface, but I know it's not a ton. This one comes crawling out. It's a real nice one. Catching lobster with my snorkel out of the water. How great is that? I dropped those lobster off and I looked straight down and I realized there's a nice little pocket type hole. Didn't see a lobster in it, but I figured I'd give it a look with the flashlight, and there ended up being a nice stone crab in it, which I will always take. This is a very different style bottom for where I normally harvest them. A lot of times you'll see me in the softer bottom. When you're catching them in the rock bottom, it's very difficult because they have stuff that they can wedge up against. They're a lot more difficult to get out and battle inside the hole because you're not dealing with sand and grass and all that. You can see it took some convincing, and I got it out, and it briefly got my glove, and I was trying to get away from it, and I dropped it and it went right in the cloud, and I was waiting for it to come out, and luckily it didn't go back in the hole. It took off. I made a run for it, and I was able to get my hands on it. And I went back to grab the anchor again to start drifting again, and I started to notice and look a little deeper in these little potholes. A lot of them were covered in grass, and I started to realize that there were lobster all over the place. A lot of them were short, but that's not uncommon this time of year, late in the season. And that one was literally parked right next to the anchor. This was pretty cool. Type of puffer fish. I actually don't know. I'm sure I could find it on Google pretty easily, but different type of puffer fish that I don't normally see. The ones I normally run into are a very different pattern, but that one was pretty cool looking. Well, that was a beautiful start. I checked one spot that I had in the past that I dove before. Wasn't anything on it, so I just started pulling the anchor and drifting. I drift like 100 feet and then check, 100 feet and check. There was lobster all over the place. Got a bonus stone crab claw, but I am thrilled. In the wintertime, the water obviously really cools down and the lobster don't really like it, so a lot of times they'll walk deeper or just move areas, try to get out of the cool water. No, it's not cooperating. But I got 5 in the first hour, probably been out here an hour. So really nice ones too. So we are well on our way to some seafood chowder. But I'm gonna check a couple more spots. I'd like to get a few stone crab to throw in there, so we're gonna move along. This was actually a pretty funny series of events. I switched up the bottom. I already had I think 4 or 5 lobster at this point, and I was trying to switch up, go to a different area to see if I could find some stone crab, and it seemed like all I could find was lobster this day. And it looked like there was another decent one in here, so I figured I'd grab it. And I started trying to work it out, and it was being kind of a pain. Wasn't really having it. And it got to the point where I figured I'd just reach in there and try and get a hold of the bigger one, because there was a few in there and I can kind of work my hands and locate the biggest of them and try to pull it out. It wasn't walking. Typically you want to tickle them. It just wasn't having it. So I go to catch this one, get it in my hands, and I look up and there's another lobster hole right in front of me. And it ended up, you'll see here in just a second, ended up being a much bigger lobster. So I just went ahead and did the old switcheroo. So I'm heading back to the boat. I've got my 6th lobster. I'm going to try to go to a different area. And I glance down right as I'm turning my camera off. I turned it back on and I realized there's a lobster just sitting in the grass, which isn't super uncommon. You can hear me talking to myself. Not super uncommon, but it's not all the time. But I started to look around and I realized there are lobster everywhere in the grass. Very camouflaged. Look at them all here. A lot of big ones too. Just laying in the grass. And typically lobster are going to be in a ledge, a hole, something that's a little more protected. But what probably happened is we're really close to the full moon in this video. At nighttime, lobster will walk. They get out and walk, feed, relocate. They'll follow each other. Well, what probably happened was all these lobster walked together. And when the daylight came, they didn't really have a structure that they were comfortable hiding in. So they probably all just shacked up in this grass. It's a little bit taller than the rest of the grass in the area. I figured they'd use that as cover. But it's not something you see all the time, which, especially in the middle of the day, I thought it was really cool. So all the lobster right there, you hear me. And then after I was measuring that other big lobster, I start to look under just the dead grass, and there's lobster everywhere under the dead grass. So it was pretty neat. These lobster must all walk together. Again, didn't have a place to shack up, so they all decided this was the next best thing. And there were, realistically, at least probably a couple dozen here, just hanging out. Well, that's my 6. Been hopping around for the stone crab. They are just eluding me today. So I'm gonna try one more spot. Pretty thrilled with what I have already. Got a lobster limit, so no complaints on that end, but we're out here, so we're gonna try one more. So this stone crab, when I peeked in the hole, I could see the elbow of it, and it just had biceps. I knew this one was a big one. I didn't know how big, but I knew it was big, and treated it like the rest of them. Tried to be quick, get it out, flip it around, and man, was this thing a giant. An absolute monster. Like, look at that in comparison to my hand. Just an absolute monster. Icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, look at the size of that thing. So this one's like a 1/4 inch over legal. Look at that. What? It's unreasonable. I am good out here. Got plenty to eat. My heart is full. Got to do some swimming around. It's hard to talk. My lips are kind of numb. I'm all good. I'll see you in a bit. Not too bad. Some tasty snacks right there. I'm thrilled with it. Knife. So I've just got a saltwater brine right here. We're gonna make some chowder. I've got somewhat of a recipe for this. It's written down in a book upstairs. I know you guys love recipes. I'll here in a sec, I'll grab that book and take a picture of it or show it on the screen, but I need to get these heads in the pot first because we need some stock. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take probably 3 or 4 of the lobster heads, use those for the stock, and while I'm at it, I'm probably just going to cook the stone crab claws in that same pot. I just need to cook them off first, and maybe throw some of those blue crab leftovers in the stock as well, and hopefully it'll be nice and tasty. All right, this is a weird angle. I've got you hooked onto the grill. I'm gonna do this outside since I'm out here. I'm gonna be cleaning the boat and the dive gear and stuff. Maybe 2 or 3 of these heads. Break these guys off so they'll fit down in here. Should be wearing gloves, but I'm not, like a dummy. So in this pot, I've got water, onion, garlic, celery, rough chopped, and then a few lobster heads. And essentially what we're doing here is we're gonna boil this down maybe for an hour. Shouldn't take more than that. You can let it go longer if you want. Sometimes I do. But we're just going to try to pull all the flavor out of these heads. The blue crabs, I don't know how people normally do these. You could probably dispatch them, but all the meat's in the body, so I don't like running a knife through there. I just rip their heads off. That's how I did it when we were kids. I'm going to save that as well, and I can put those in the stock. You just clean all this stuff out. I've seen some people that just cook them whole and then clean them after. I like cleaning them before. Just a preference. I'm sure somebody will have something to say about it. I'm cleaning seafood. Look who shows up. Old Toon Dog. Tuna, you don't want no lobster? Not the prettiest thing, but it is packed with flavor. So all we got to do is pull all this out. I'm going to strain everything. Make sure we got all the shells and everything out, and that is our stock. All right, we are in the kitchen. So, just in case you missed it, I know you guys like recipes. I know you're thinking this book is full of my secret recipes. I really don't write them down. This is like the 3rd thing in here. There's nothing in here, and this was from 2 years ago. There's a couple of other things, but I really don't write stuff down very often. I thought I was gonna, but I don't. But for those of you who like it, and just in case you missed it, take a picture of that. This is what I'm making loosely. Hopefully it's in focus. But what I'm going to do, it's such a long, tedious process to make this. I just chopped for like an hour, probably. Stock takes an hour. I'm going to do once we're in here, now that we're in here, I'm going to do the TikTok version. And what that means is I'm just going to show the steps as they're happening. I'm not going to talk all the way through it. That's your ingredients list. Cook with your heart. I've got a bunch of different seafood. You can use conch if you can get if you're in the Bahamas, or you can get frozen conch. You can use any type of other seafood, shrimp, crab, lobster. Oh, don't forget, we did catch one shrimp. Whoever gets that one is the winner. But obviously, I'm going for show here. I've got quite a variety of seafood, and I had a couple extra claws in the fridge, so we're good. We got plenty of claws. But I'm going to get started. We're going to start with a big pot, and we're going to brown some bacon. All right, I like to get my bacon just a little bit past chewy, to where it just has a barely crunch. That's just a preference. I just don't like crunchy bacon in soup. But now I'm going to remove the bacon and leave the grease. Brown your garlic, just don't burn it. Keep it moving. All right, we're going to start adding veggies. Celery, red bell pepper, green bell pepper. We've got onion and carrot. Now we're just going to keep that medium heat and cook these down. Just want to sweat them. Soften them up. Oh, there was a jalapeno in there. I pulled most of the seeds out because when I tasted a slice of it, it was atomic. But if you like spice, add some spice. Gonna do, that's 1 tablespoon, right? A tablespoon of tomato paste. I think I did this before once I had liquid in there, but I like to heat it up now and let it cook with everybody instead of just throwing it in the soup after. Everybody is sweaty. Gonna add our potatoes. Gonna add some flour. I never know how much flour to add. I kind of like my soup a little on the thick side, so I tend to add probably too much. We're going to put some white wine in there to deglaze. All right, bacon back. Now we're going to start adding our lobster and crab stock. About there. Bring the heat up. It should warm up pretty quickly. This is room temp. Oh, this is going to be some of the chunkiest soup you ever had. Going to add just a little bit more stock. And something I didn't film, obviously salt and pepper to taste. If you make your stock from scratch, just be careful with the salt because I normally salt the broth as well as I'm making it. You don't want it to be too salty, so salt as you go. I'm going to add a box of chopped tomatoes, chopped or diced. I normally use diced, but I grabbed the wrong box. But it's still kind of chunky. I like them a little bit chunky. And I have it in a bowl because I drained the juice out. I don't like all of the tomato juice to come with that comes with the box to go in there. I want all of my liquid to be mainly my stock. A couple of bay leaves. Some squeeze of lemon. All right, so I'm going to bring that up to a boil, just slightly, then down. We are going to simmer that for before we add the seafood. I'm going to simmer that for probably at least 30 minutes. Want everyone to get social in there and get to know each other. All right, been simmering for a little while. We're going to add the lobster first. Let that go, and we're not going to add the stone crab or the blue crab until the very end. The crab overcooks in the shell very easily. All right, so simmered about an hour. Don't want to put these in too early because they will overcook. I'll put all those in there. And remember, whoever gets the shrimp wins. And you could certainly break those down or cook them and then break them down and then put it in, but I'm kind of lazy. So we're just gonna, it's got muscles twitching. Cover that, turn the heat off, and give it 5.
Ooh, I'm gonna light a candle to create an ambiance.
Look at that moon coming up.
Wow, babe. I don't know if you've ever taken me on a candlelight dinner.
That's when we first met.
Actually, I guess I'm the one.
I have photos that will prove that wrong.
Hold on, what? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I spent all the money I had in my account.
I do remember.
Yeah.
It was when I was in Miami, right?
Yep.
That little like cove.
Yeah, I spent all my money on that dinner.
Wow, I remember that was for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
You were so cute. That was when you started growing your hair out, and your hair was super curly, and I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I had no idea what to expect.
There we are. Seafood chowder.
Oh my god, babe, I can't stop thinking about that. That was so
Did it.
fun.
All that smack talk. Look who's backpedaling.
That was over 10 years ago, so give me a break.
Oh, it doesn't count?
Well, no, I forgot.
It was still cold. Put it in the soup, it'll warm it up a little bit.
Oh, that's good. Ooh, this is so perfect.
It's like 68 degrees outside.
It's so cold.
Which-
I have my
which
cuddle
might-
duds on. It's
which
so cold.
Might as well be snowing here. That full moon coming up. Don't get much better than this. That jalapeno I put in there was literally one of the hottest jalapenos I've ever had. I did one jalapeno in that whole pot, and I'm 2 bites in, and this is already kind of spicy.
I don't typically like spiny lobster. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't like it. I just don't prefer
It's
it.
not your first choice.
Yeah, it's not my first choice. But in this, it's actually really good.
And the stock is from scratch.
Wow, babe. It's so healthy.
That's the biggest part. That's where you get all the flavor. You got to make the stock from scratch. I might get some meat out of
No,
here.
this is incredible, babe. The flavors. I think you're right. Having it marry together definitely made a difference.
A slow simmer. Ninja Pearl.
She
Wow.
loves that box.
Well,
What?
that's all we got.
Oh, I thought something happened.
No. Uh-oh.
Hold on. So have we talked to these guys in 2026 yet? Is this the first video?
Yeah.
Hi guys, Happy New Year.
This is 2026.
Cheers to 2026.
Madeline hasn't been around in the episodes lately. She's been very busy with work. But
Yeah.
she will be back.
Yes, 2025 was a very, very busy year. Very grateful, but very busy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sit down and crack all those later. Should have done that earlier. But that's all we got. Thanks so much for coming along. I am going to enjoy this. And I'm going to hit the sack. I'm tired.
I know, you've been on the boat a lot.
Getting after it. Any questions, leave them in the comments. First hour I get on there, answer questions. You got anything you want to share?
If you're buying or selling in the Keys, let me know. It's a new year. Starting from scratch now.
Uh-oh. We'll see you in the next one.
Later.